Hi all, so this is a different type of scrunchie. I've just filmed this style, so please do check out those videos, but this is another type. I still call them scrunchies, but I'm not quite sure whether they really class as scrunchies, but they have little curly ones hanging off. They look great over buns, so if you have a nice bun you can pop this over and let it hang down. It looks really good. And so you can have just a little few, or you can really pack them in and have quite a few, and they do make really good decorations for your hair, and they're really simple to make. So I'm just going to show you how to do this one, but this one, all it is just repeating this a few more times before you finish going around. So it's really simple just to increase this. You could do all the way around, but I think that gets a bit much. With this bit, that leaves room for you to twist and put around when you're doing it. Okay, so all we're going to need for these is some headbands. Now these ones, you see, got the lighter coloured one in here, but you could use the black ones. This one here has black, one of my scrunchies, so it doesn't matter which colour you use. I'm going to use black for now because it's easier to see stitches against the black. Okay, and then I'm using a DK weight yarn. I'm just using this reclaimed yarn, which is why it's all wrinkly, because I've reclaimed off another project. But you can use any, but this is just basic DK weight yarn. And I'm using a 4mm hook. See that? So that's all it is. So we're just going to create a slip knot. So for me, I have the tail end there and the working end there, and then I twist it over so the tail end is on top of the working yarn. Grab the working yarn, pull it through, and there's your slip knot, which you can just pull through. Leave a good end, tail end, because you want to be able to weave in your ends at the end and make them secure. And this is really simple, so you're just going to grab your hair thing. Should we come in closer? The wrong way? One day I might get the right way the first time around. Okay, so we're going to come closer, and if you've worked with magic ring, this is a similar process. We're going through the loop and putting the stitches over the loop, in this case the hairband. So we're just going to take our hook through, yarn over, pull back through the loop, yarn over, and go through both loops. And that is a single crochet for US, double crochet for UK. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do that all the way around. We don't want to overfill it, so don't do it so you've got so many that it's stretching out, because that will overuse the band and create it, ruin the elasticity of it, and it might give out before you've had a good use out of it. Also try to use these thicker bands that you got here. Thinner ones I find can't cope with the strain, especially if you have a lot of yarn on it, like these two, and they can snap more easy. So have a really good thick band. I think that's better. And when you're filling it up, don't overfill it, but also don't underfill it. You still need that give in the band, but I will show you that as we get further around. So then we're just going to hook through the loop, yarn over, pull back through, yarn over, and go through the two. So just a bunch of single crochets or UK double crochets all the way around. Don't stretch this as you're going, just keep it loosely held so that you're keeping it reasonably tight along here, but it's still got some good give in it, without being under too much strain. I'm just going to go all the way around. It doesn't really matter how many stitches you put in, it's more about the feel of the thing, to how much movement and how stretched out it is, rather than the actual stitch count. Simply because each person has a different tension. Your band might be smaller, it might be bigger, your hook might be the same size, but you could have a different tension, creating a different size stitch. If you're really tight on here, you're obviously going to get a few more in. If you're loose, you're going to get a few less in. So just go by look and feel rather than actual stitch count. I'm just going to keep going all the way around a minute. Oop, that's my yarn running away. I'm sorry if you can hear the noise in the background. I will try to remove it in the editing, but I'm still learning my editing software, so I might not get it all. Just going to keep going around until we've got all of this covered. Do you see how it's starting to bunch up a little? Just spread it around a lot. You don't want it too much in there because you don't want it stretching. You want it to just sit nicely around the band, no stretching and no compressing. Just keep going around doing all these single crochets all the way around until we get back to the beginning. Now when you get back to the beginning here, what you want to do is just to give it a test pull to a round thing, and you want to see if these would be pulling to the tightest. If they're still being pulled to the real tight, then you need a few more on there. But don't have it so bulked up that you can pull it up and it's still wavy. You want just a nice amount that sits around but gives plenty of give. See, so it doesn't matter that you can see the hairband through here, because you won't really notice that once you're wearing it. That just allows room for the manoeuvring, okay, without overstretching. So all we're going to do now that we've got the correct amount on is just a slip stitch into the first one, and that's joined your first round. That just secures it all in place. Okay, so next we're going to start creating these little curly things. Now these ones I'm doing are done with 3 stitches into each one. That will create the natural curl. Some people find that they need 4 or 5. I will have a video that shows the difference between 3, 4 and 5 on the curl, so do check back for that. But for now, all we're going to do, for this length, I've chained 40. Now if you want shorter ones, obviously just do less chains, and if you want long ones, do more chains. I've found a general rule is the chain needs to be double the length of what you want to create. It's not exact, but it's close enough that if you have a chain double the length of the final product, it should give you around the right size product that you want. So I'm just going to chain 40. Okay, so I've got my chain 40, so as you see it's quite long, but when you fold it in half it gives us roughly that sort of length. As you can see, that is roughly the same length as these. So yeah, around half of the length you want. So always work out the length you want and then measure your chain so it's double the length you want, and you'll always get the size you want, within reason obviously. So now we're just going to work back up the chain, but so obviously we're not going to work into this first stitch because that loop's in it. We're going to work into the next one, so the second chain from your hook, and we're going to do 3 single crochets. So you're going to go through your chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over between the 2 loops. So that's 2, and do a third one. And then we're just going to move on to the next chain and do 3 single crochets or UK double crochets into that loop. And we're going to do that all the way along, just 3 single crochets or UK double crochets into each stitch, each chain along. And what this is going to do is, you can probably see it's already started. It's starting to curl round on itself. Now, some people find that it doesn't curl enough, so just put extra stitches in. But as I said, check out the other video for how to decide how many stitches you need. Now, you might find while you're doing this that your item doesn't always curl neatly around like that, and it might get a little wavy and wiggly around. That's absolutely normal, and I will show you in a minute what you do just to fix it. So do one more and then I'll show you. Get into my stitch. So as I said, we're just doing 3 single crochets, UK double crochets into there. But you see how that started to curl. This has just gone a little wiggly and wavy. We're just going to twist it around until it gets into place. There you go, and that's the nice little curl. So it's normal for it to not be quite so even when you're making it, but it will twist around to the correct place as you go, so don't worry about it. You can do the whole length and then twist it back to the way it's supposed to, or you can do it as you go along. It's entirely up to you. But we're just going to do this all the way along. So 3 stitches into every chain. It can be a bit tedious, but the end results are so pretty it's worth it, you know. If you'd like to share what you've made, or you have any questions, I do have a Facebook group that you are welcome to come and join. It's, if you just search for Sonia Jones YouTube group, you'll be able to find it. Though there is a link in the About Me section on my YouTube channel, so you should be able to get through straight from there. I do have a couple of questions on there, but that's purely for me to know that you're not a spammer about to spam my site. So it will ask what craft you do, or maybe you can say how you found me, that sort of thing. I'm not particularly fussed what you put, as long as it's polite. I just need some information to know that you are a legitimate viewer who wants to join, rather than someone who's looking to spam the site. And just keep going all the way along on this. You see how it's all higgledy-piggledy, just twist it around and it all goes the correct way. Try to make sure your thing doesn't spin around too much, because you don't want to twist your chain. So just try to make sure your chain is staying reasonably straight. Once you've seen how to do one of these, it's pretty simple to do the rest, but I will show you at least one more so that you can see how the gap is between them. But this is a pretty simple thing to adjust. If you want not so many and you want them spread out further, you just leave a bigger gap. Do an extra normal single crochet on there, but I'll show you how to do that, don't worry. But don't miss any stitches going up the chain, because you need to make sure you've got all of the stitches to give it the curl that it needs. These don't have to be perfect, because you can just go through at the end and readjust to make sure that they're all curly. know it's probably a bit boring to watch, but I know some of you like to see the full pattern and not just me telling you what to do, so I'll keep going, showing you at least one or two of these. Almost at the end. You want to make sure you get every last one of these chains so that it curls right the way up to the top. And just tidy it up. I'll tidy it up more neater once I'm off camera, but for now you just need to see the general gist of it, don't you? There we go, there's the first twirly, curly, whatever you want to call it, done. So once you've done all these chains, you're going to go into the next stitch. You're just going to single crochet into that stitch, or UK double crochet into that stitch, and that just finishes off that one. And then we're going to go into the next stitch and do a single crochet again, or UK double, and then we're going to chain 40 again. So okay, so that's the next chain 40. Again, you can double check, look, do that, is roughly the same height. And then we're going to do the exact same thing. We are going to go into the second chain from the hook, and we are going to do US single crochet, UK double crochet 3 times into each stitch along. And this is all we do for the entire thing. So you just choose how many of these little spirals you want on your hair thing. Now, as I said, I single crocheted in, and then I single crocheted across one before doing my chain 40. If you want a wider gap, go across one more. So this one here is actually made with no gap, so I single crochet into the same stitch that I started on, and then single crochet into the next one and do 40, and then go back into the same stitch, and that bolts them really nicely together like that. But that would be too many when you're doing something like this, which is why I leave a gap, I put a chain in before moving across. Not a chain, a single crochet in before moving across, because if you filled this up with just working into each stitch a chain 40, it would easily get over full. I mean, you can see how many I got in just this area by working a chain 40 into every other stitch. So you could put less in to go further on if you didn't want it quite so bulky by doing it into every third stitch. But for now we're just doing it into every other stitch. So this stitch had a chain 40, and then we single crocheted into the one next to it, and then we went across to the next one, single crocheted and done a chain 40. So there's one stitch in between them that doesn't have a chain on. So I'm just going to work my way back up here and then do another one. It's really simple and there's not really much else to show you, so I'll probably speed through this now. Okay, so I've done the whole of this one. As you see, I haven't bothered twisting it yet. It doesn't matter when you do it, it will be done at some point, and it will look nice and curly like this. That's what I'm saying. You could just literally make it all and then go back and twist them all. It will make no difference. So I've done the last chain. So again, I'm going to go into the next stitch and I'm going to single crochet or UK double crochet into that stitch. And then I'm going to go to the next one and do a single crochet in that one, and then I'm going to chain 40. If you want to make a bigger gap, just do another single crochet into there and then chain 40. It's entirely up to you how you want to lay this out, but I'm going to do it here. So that's my chain 40. So off camera I'll work my way back up again because you don't need to see that again. But remember, all it is 3 single crochets or UK double crochets into each stitch. So just do that all the way along until you get back to the top, and then I'll show you when it's done again. Okay, so I've worked up that third one. I've also quickly just twisted them all around. They still need a little tidying up, but they're quickly done from the minute. So I'm just going to leave it at the 3 and show you how we finish off for now. But as I said, you can do as many of them as you want and get some really funky looking hair scrunchies. So again, we're just going to single crochet into that next stitch to seal it off, and now we're just going to single crochet all the way around. If you don't want an extra little wave, you could just finish it off here, but I like that extra little wave just so that it still looks really pretty. So we're just going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around. And that's just going to give it a little wave, so it just gives it a little extra special something at the end of it. So it's 2 single crochets or 2 UK double crochets in each stitch around, okay? And this is as simple as it is to make this one. We're just going to go all the way around. Try not to split your yarn. You see how that's creating just a nice little wave all the way around. That's all we want, so we're just going to go up to here and then we're just going to fasten off. Almost to the end. Last one. Might be a little snug by this point. Okay, so now we've got 2 into each. We're just going to slip stitch into that chain where we did the chain 40, hit that very first single crochet. We're just going to slip stitch into there because that just hides the join within your curl and that just keeps it neater. So slip stitch, then yarn over, cut your yarn, and then pull it through, and you're weaving those ends, but there is a very simple little scrunchie. So this one has 3, this one has 5, and this one has a lot. We come out. Nope, again, wrong way. Don't you see how pretty each one can look? And you can have varying amounts. So that one's got the least amount. With 3, that one's got 5, and that one's just got a shed load. But they all look really pretty and they can look really funky, and you can, with colour changing yarn, you can get a really cool one. If you did one this big with this colour changing, it would look really pretty all the way around. Or you could literally just change your yarn if you know how to do colour changes, which are really simple. But I really like them, I think they're really cool. So I hope they've helped, and feel free to share what you've made with them. And check out my other scrunchie videos. So we have this style, and then I'm about to film one for these, which mimic more fabric because you're working around, and depending on how many rows you do, depends on how scrunched up it is. This is just a few rows, and you can see this one's got a lot more, but they're making fun. So check out all of those videos. Please comment down below. Any questions, do ask. I'm happy to try to answer anything. If I've not explained something well enough or not shown something, I can try and help you out. But otherwise, you all take care. Bye!